Hey there, welcome back to Limabean Living. In today's video, I will be sharing our first kind of day and a half of a 3-day vacation. Technically 4, I guess, but I'll explain that later. But we were going to be traveling to the East Coast and starting off with a red-eye flight. Well, we just got past security. What did we have to do at security? We had to take off our shoes, take out our computer.
So did we get all that stuff back?
Yep, we got it all back, and now we're waiting for our flight.
Which flight?
To get on our plane.
Oh.
So I didn't film a lot leading up to, getting in the gate or anything like that because I was just pretty stressed. But Juan and I managed to carry both car seats, our luggage, our personal items, and make it to the gate. And our flight was running a little late. It got pushed back at least an hour or two. So that meant that we had to entertain our kids in the airport while we waited.
We're going on a plane. I've been sat on a plane since I was a baby, and Bubby had gold on there. We might with a bottle. Give me candy.
This reminds me of the movie Elf when he sits on his dad's lap. She has grown so much since she was a baby and fit into this well. So to be honest, when Juan first told me that we were going to go on a red-eye flight to the East Coast, I freaked out a little bit. I have gone on flights with Aubrey when she was a nursing infant. So she was just on my lap the whole time. If she got fussy, I would nurse her. And, we managed to make it through any of the flights we were on. But this was the first time that we had both kids. No one's nursing, and we hadn't been on a flight as long as, this one before with any of the kids. So I was a little stressed. I tried my best to entertain the kids by walking around, looking at the planes through the windows. I really wanted to limit screen time, but I figured since we're hoping they're going to sleep on the plane anyways, some screen time, would be okay because our flight was delayed over an hour. I did bring a little tiny thing of Play-Doh because I thought that would be a really good thing to have on the plane, especially for our flight back. Our flight back was going to be more in the evening, but not a red eye. And then we had the typical cars and, just trying to keep the kids entertained, even though this was pretty late at night already, this was past their bedtime. But the environment of the airport is just so lively that the kids just still had a bunch of energy. But like I said, knowing that we were going to have a red eye, I was really stressed. So I didn't film a lot, on our way there because I was just oh gosh, our flight's delayed. Then Juan said, oh, what if it gets canceled? And I was just oh my gosh, freaking out. And I just wasn't in the place to videotape any of that. But we ended up driving to his parents' house and then they drove us the rest of the way to the airport. But getting to the gate really was a pretty simple, straightforward experience. It was just, we had so much stuff. We had our stroller. We had 2 car seats, a luggage. I had a backpack. Juan had a backpack. I think even Aubrey had a backpack. I had my laptop and other technology. So we had to take all of that out to go through security. And, I was just trying to be super speed mom mode and not hold up the line. I kind of suffer from that social anxiety of not wanting to bother anyone when I have my children. So that was something that, I don't know, it just got me worked up because I was just okay, kids behave, let's get through this, let's get this done. And it ended up working out. So we still had a ways to wait for our plane to start loading. And we ended up getting checked little tickets for our stroller as well as the car seats, which is included. I was happy that we didn't have to pay extra for them because we were flying on Spirit. But we got our tags ready for, dropping off as soon as we board the plane. And then Jack really wanted to walk around carrying our somewhat heavy luggage. And it was just the cutest thing. So many people, throughout the airport as we were walking around, were just googly eyeing Jack. Some guy, I think it was a pilot actually, walked by me. He was I wish I had someone to carry my luggage around. But Jack just had a blast. Like, we went back and forth throughout the airport. He just kept wanting to walk like further and further away from where all of the rest of our stuff was. So Juan stayed back and probably had a very nice break. But, I had fun watching Jack. This was one of the highlights of my trip, oddly enough, just because it was so funny to watch. But before we boarded the plane, we went into a family restroom, which was a perk of, coming with your kids, is you kind of get a whole bathroom to yourself and there's not usually a huge line. So that was nice. I made sure to utilize those and not feel like I needed to go just in the women's restroom and, crowd myself in a stall with the children. Then it was time to board, and we ended up just boarding at the beginning, although, I know there's a tip of when you're boarding with children, like the other partner goes on, brings all the stuff, and then you wait to bring the kids until the last minute. I think we were kind of hoping that the kids would just be so sleepy and want to fall asleep, but that wasn't really the case. Jack was probably annoying the person in front of him, lifting up his table tray and putting it back down, so I had to make him stop a number of times. And I think, overall the kids were just really excited to start flying on the plane, but I really was like, okay, how am I going to get them to bed? You may or may not have seen Juan is across the aisle, so we are like, all together. And I just kind of figured, the kids probably would want me for more comfort to fall asleep. And hopefully once they fall asleep, then I can get some sleep because I know I'm going to need the energy. And one thing that I was kind of disappointed to realize as soon as we kind of got seated was our seats didn't recline at all because they were a Spirit flight. So, everything's kind of like streamlined and less expensive, so less luxurious. So we weren't able to recline the seats at all. And I was happy that, to start, the kids fell asleep rather quickly. Unfortunately, Aubrey was a little uncomfortable at first, so she ended up taking the neck pillow that my mom had given me to use for the flight, so I had nothing. And you'll see my face in a bit where I'm just like, now what? The kids fell asleep relatively easy. I had to kind of sing to Jack to get him to fall asleep. But, shortly after, the kids were asleep, and then it was like, okay, I just got to figure out how to get to sleep myself. But I want to say not even 20 minutes in, I hadn't even fallen asleep yet, and Jack repositioned himself, then wanted me to hold him, so I got him out of his seat. Aubrey then was uncomfortable, and it was just, for me, a horrible, horrible flight. I would never want to do a red eye again with the little kids like that, because you think, oh, they can sleep in a car in the car seat, but that's more cushiony than an airplane seat. But anyways, towards the last quarter of the flight, Juan kind of took over and I tried to rest a little bit. But we finally got to our destination and our family picked us up and we ended up eating at a little diner, which was really cute. They had lots of fun desserts to see. I ended up splitting half of my meal with my brother-in-law, and we just kind of had the same thing. One part of mine was carrot cake pancakes, and then the other part was a Monte Cristo. And everything was very filling. There was a lot of food left over. And, the kids got some cute little cups, but we made our way back to the house and got the kids down for a very well-needed nap. I also took a nap, and then finally Juan fell asleep when we all woke up. So he stayed at home, and we went to the park that is in the neighborhood. The house was just beautiful. The area was beautiful around there. A Dunkin' Donuts was walking distance from the park. So we walked there, and then once Juan woke up, it was time to go and explore a little bit. So we are in Maryland currently. This is where we were staying. It was just beautiful greenery. You will get to see a deer just in a little split second. We were told that there's deer here all the time, but this was the one deer that we saw during our stay. And you kind of have to look really close, but I paused it there so hopefully you can see it kind of near the bushes. But as we go ahead and drive to our first destination, I will say that having a red eye was good in the sense that I felt like after my 2-hour nap upon arriving and after eating breakfast and then, taking a 2-hour nap, I felt pretty acclimated to the time change. I didn't feel very jet lagged. I was just tired from the flight, and I got, enough energy from my nap to feel adjusted. And then I feel like the rest of our trip, there wasn't struggles with nap times or going to bed at night. Like it kind of worked out in that sense. So that was a benefit of taking a red eye, but it was just so stressful. Like I think if I were just to travel there by myself, a red eye would be fine. And probably a preferred way to adjust to the time change. But with kids, I don't know, part of me feels like it just would be better to entertain them during the flight, especially going to the East Coast from California because it is a shorter flight. But anyways, so our first stop, the place that we are actually heading to, is a cute little like dairy farm. And we went to go get some fresh ice cream. I believe I got like a chocolatey espresso ice cream. Aubrey got like a birthday cake ice cream, and I believe Jack got the cookie butter ice cream. All were very delicious. It was cool to like know that this was coming from the cows that they have, on the site. And then another little highlight of this little area was they had a whole playground like in the back. And so after enjoying our ice cream and, having a fun little treat, we walked over and just kind of explored all of that they had to offer for kids and, entertainment and information on the cows. If you wanted, you could feed the calves. They had the little calves here just playing around in their little stalls. But one thing that Jack really liked was this big pile of rocks and then all the little trucks. He just ran to that and pretty much stayed there the entire time. I think at one point he even lined up the cars like all right next to each other. And that's kind of what he does with his little Hot Wheels at home. He likes to line them all up and have them all facing the same direction. So he was just in little car heaven here. And they had other things that we didn't try. We didn't play cornhole. They had like a little ring toss game. You could probably pet a goat, I think, in the back. But overall, it was just really cute. I loved just how laid back everything was. And we really enjoyed this little stop in our trip. So next up, we will be visiting the Potomac. I think that's how you pronounce it. My pronunciation is so bad. The Potomac River and Harper's Ferry. So we had to drive like through Virginia and then West Virginia. And so we're like hitting a bunch of states, which from a California standpoint feels really weird. Like we're not used to hitting so many states like back to back to back. So that was kind of cool to be like, hey, we're in a state. Hey, we're in a new state, like right away. But we went to visit this little area and the town was just super cute. Like I loved the feel of everything. And we actually ended up getting a souvenir at one of the stores here. And I'll show you a little picture of it. It's just this little sleeve for like canned beverages. I really like how, one, it looks like a little t-shirt, but also it has a rubber base, so it's a little bit more sturdy, so I don't feel like a can of soda is gonna like fall and tip over. And it's just like a fun little souvenir, but that's useful. I don't really like getting things that are just gonna collect dust or, anything like that. Like I wanted it to be useful, and it's the perfect thing for my cup. The other benefit of it is the little dip in like the V-neck type thing allows for your lips to like drink from the can without touching it, so that was kind of cool.
You do not have to be good. Even the best of us have been misunderstood. So get up onto your feet. The sun is shining, repentance through the leaf. Its rays will wash you clean. I'm walking slowly, I'm taking my time. All I like are talking is starting to rhyme. Letting go of lonely, letting go of strife. I just can't get it.
But anyways, Jack was just super excited to see the trains. He's into like trains as well as cars, and so getting to see this up close was enjoyable for him. What sound does the train make? But we continued walking, and I had suggested before, while we were still kind of planning the trip, like, hey, can we just like go someplace with dirt and like rocks and just let the kids just kind of play, because it's free for the most part, unless you're paying for parking. But the kids just get to be kids, and we don't need to go someplace super fancy. Like, we're just getting to be out in nature and explore. So I found these little eggshells by the river, which I was like, I wonder, what birdie or what animal hatched here. And then it was rock throwing time, and Jack's throws are so small at first. I think he ended up having one good throw at one point, but they were just the cutest little tosses into the river. I did try to skip rocks. It's been a really long time, and I think the most I got was like 2. So at least I got it to skip at least once. But this river was just so beautiful. I think I saw people kayaking on it or whatever. It was very, very beautiful and very relaxing. But then after, visiting the river, we walked up to see the church and just explore there a bit.
This is a pretty rosary.
As if he was tired from walking up all those steps. Then we made our way kind of heading back to the cars, because we were just trying to hit a bunch of spots as much as we could, since our overall trip was going to be somewhat short. It'd be great to spend like a week out there because there's just so much to see. But Aubrey's really into gems, so we walked into a little store with like crystals and gems and stuff. And I don't believe any of the crystal, stuff here, but they were just very pretty to witness in person. What did you see?
Booty gems.
So after that, we loaded up the car and made our way to this cute Italian restaurant for dinner. We wanted to get some pizza, and we just enjoyed sitting down for a bit and enjoying each other's company. So after we were done eating, we just headed back to the house. The kids enjoyed some gifts that they got. Jack received a like Hot Wheels track, and then Aubrey got this cute like big egg with a stuffed animal and other trinkets inside. So they enjoyed that. They opened that all up. I prepared some snacks for the next day because we were going to be exploring DC. And then we just kind of, wound down for the evening and went to bed. But I'd like to thank you guys for joining us on our first vacation, like full day and some travel time. Make sure to check back for my next video. We'll be covering day 2 of this very fun trip to the East Coast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Woohoo! You've made it to the end of the video. If you didn't know already, every Monday and Friday, you can find motherhood and lifestyle content on this channel. And since us moms have to do it all, that may mean yummy recipes, easy DIYs, mom hacks, cleaning and organization, or just a combo of everything. Please know that you are loved and you are made for greatness, and I will catch you in the next one.